Lance Meadow with you as we are setting the stage for homecoming weekend. Columbia continues Ivy League play against Dartmouth, their third Ivy League contest of the season. As always, we are joined by head coach Al Bagnoli. Coach, let's start with the last game. Very hard to win games when you turn the ball over four times. That's clearly stating the obvious. But how much were the short fields that Penn received as a result of some of that a huge difference maker?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was the story of the game. As we had 3 turnovers in the first 18 minutes, one which was returned for a defensive touchdown. So we not only had turnovers, we kind of had them at the wrong places. And so one turnover was in as we were going in to score, one turnover resulted in a defensive touchdown, one turnover in a very short field, which they converted. So we got behind really early, really fast against a good team playing with a lot of confidence on the road, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Third down has been a strength of this offense. You look at the numbers, 3 of 10, and it seemed like down and distance, specifically on third down, created another challenge. 6 of the 10 were for 10 yards or more. How much did that impact, you think, the dynamics on offense?
Again, I think your whole goal when you're on defense is to put people in those third and longs where you can come with some exotic blitzes. You can negate half the offense. You're not really worried about off-tackle power on the 3rd and 10. And you can match up the way you want to match up. You know, you can put in nickel dime packages and do some things that are certainly to defensive guys' advantage. And you allow your front 4 to tee off, and they're talented kids anyways. So it forces you to do a lot of things. It puts a lot of strain on your offensive line. And again, it was the perfect storm. And they took advantage of all those opportunities, and we had been and continue to lead the league in third down percentage, so we'd been really good, but you wouldn't know it from that game.
2 wide receivers finished with over 100 yards, some encouraging signs on offense late in the game. You get now a Dartmouth team that has dropped 4 in a row. We've seen your team deal with adversity before and bounce back. What's your message? What are you hoping to see out of your team this week?
Well, I think the first thing, every game, whether you win or lose, you got to take out lessons from it. And you've got to kind of negate some of the mistakes because you're making them to a lesser extent even when you win. But certainly when you lose, you know, you just have to get back and recalibrate and just make sure that the kids understand what happened and why this happened and the preparation part of it and people trying to do above and beyond what they need to do and, you know, the whole litany of, you know, things that happen to you that are really self-driven. They're not necessarily done by the other team. You jump off sides, you fumble after a 50-yard play trying to make an extra 2 or 3 yards when you've already made 50. You know, you're late throwing the ball so you don't pick up the right read, and it goes on and on. So you have to be able to extract lessons from everything. And hopefully that's the message that, you know, we are in control of all these variables. And it's really for us to learn, for us to eliminate some of this stuff, and for us to get back playing the football we're capable of playing. And I told them, don't let the 1-loss record, fool you, because their schedule has been challenging. You know, in league, it's been Yale, which is 4-1, and it's been Penn, that's 5-0. And out of league, a very good New Hampshire team, you know, a pretty solid Sacred Heart team. So they've played some people that are having really good seasons and are good, solid football teams. So don't let that 1-4 record necessarily think that they're not good, because they are.
Sure. Plus, both of their Ivy League games were decided by 1 score, one of which went to overtime. I want to switch gears to the dynamics of this Dartmouth team because, interestingly, they've played multiple quarterbacks. Specifically, last game, one seems to be a passer, another one seems to be a runner. Puts a little bit of stress, I'm sure, on your defense. What type of challenge does that present?
Yeah, I mean, they've done that for the past 4 or 5 years. Now, this is the 2nd edition of those players. So, and they've done it with great success, because when you look at practice allocation, you know, you have to spend a lot of time preparing for both offenses because they're uniquely different. So to prepare for the passer, you got to do certain things. Then you prepare for the runner, you have to do certain things, and it's hard to get enough reps to feel really comfortable, that you've covered everything. So that's the first challenge. Now, obviously, our kids have got to do a good job recognizing who's in the game, and then what do they do, and what are we trying to take away, and let them try to play to their weakness. But they've done that pretty well. In previous years, the quarterback they're using now is not quite as experienced as fifth-year kid they had last year, and it's actually been the same running quarterback, Howard, as they had last year. So it'll be a challenge, but a lot of it, is who's in the game and what are they trying to do and what are we trying to stop and what's the emphasis.
Coach, I know every season is different, but I think back to last season, one of your most impressive wins was against a Dartmouth team, 19-0 on a Friday night on the road.
Yeah.
I know the personnel has changed on both sides, but how much can you take away from that performance last season and what you want to apply to this game?
Yeah, I mean, it shows, obviously, if we play well, we're capable of beating every team in our league, including Dartmouth, which was the co-champ last year. So I think that was certainly a statement game for us to indicate that. So we have some confidence that we can do it, and that will be helpful. And we've actually played Dartmouth better than probably the majority of the teams in this league if you go back over the last 5 or 6 years. But we also recognize they're a good football team, they've proud tradition, they've got some big, strong, physical kids, so it'll be a physical game. And, last year is last year, we're playing with different kids too, so, we can't bank too much because those kids aren't here. But hopefully it's a carryover from the kids who did play in that game and a recognition that if we play well, we can beat anybody.
Well, football weather is upon us, a physical game, homecoming weekend. You got all three pieces in the mix here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, it's a pleasure. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, Lance.
Al Bagnoli with us as Columbia will host Dartmouth on Saturday. The game kicks off at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You can watch it on ESPN Plus as well as on SNY.